Everyone knows The Little Mermaid as a love story. A young mermaid sees a prince, wants to become human, trades her voice for legs, and follows her heart into another world. That is the version people remember. But Hans Christian Andersen did not write that story. In the original, the Little Mermaid does not marry the prince. She does not get her voice back. She does not defeat the sea witch. She does not return home, and the prince never learns that she was the girl who saved his life. Instead, near the end of the story, she stands over his sleeping body with a knife. If she stabs him before sunrise and lets his blood fall on her feet, her legs will become a tail again. She can return to the sea. She can live. If she refuses, she dies. That is the version most people were never told, and the knife is not even the darkest part. In Andersen's original, the sea witch does not gently take the mermaid's voice. She cuts out her tongue. Her new legs do not give her freedom. Every step feels like walking on sharp knives, and the reason she wants to become human is not just romance. It is because mermaids do not have immortal souls. They live for hundreds of years, then dissolve into foam and vanish. Humans live shorter lives, but their souls continue after death. So the Little Mermaid is not simply asking, "Will he love me?" She is asking, "Will I become nothing?" That is the real horror under the fairy tale. It is not about a girl chasing a prince. It is about a girl being told that to survive beyond death, she must give up her voice, change her body, abandon her family, enter a world that does not understand her, and make a human man choose her. Her eternity depends on someone else recognizing her. And from the beginning, he recognizes the wrong person. Andersen published The Little Mermaid in 1837. The story begins deep under the sea, in the palace of the Sea King. The youngest mermaid is not allowed to rise to the surface until she turns 15. Her sisters go before her, one by one. They come back describing ships, cities, lights, human music, and the strange beauty of the world above. But the youngest mermaid is different. She is not only curious, she becomes fixed on the human world because it seems to hold something her world does not: a soul. Her grandmother explains the rule. Mermaids live much longer than humans, but they have no immortal soul. When their life ends, they become foam on the sea. Humans die sooner, but their souls rise into a life beyond the body. That single idea changes her. The sea is no longer just home. It becomes a beautiful place with a death sentence built into it. 300 years under the water sounds like a gift until she understands what waits after it. Nothing, no heaven, no reunion, no continuation, only foam. So when she looks at humans, she is not only looking upward, she is looking at a species that gets to matter after death. Then she sees the prince. On her 15th birthday, she rises to the surface and watches a ship. There is a celebration on board. The prince is there. He is young, beautiful, and surrounded by life. Then the weather turns. The storm breaks the ship apart. The prince falls into the sea. The humans cannot save him, but the mermaid can. She carries him through the waves and brings him to shore near a temple. She waits until someone comes. A young human girl finds him. The mermaid has to leave before the prince wakes. When he opens his eyes, he sees the temple girl, not the mermaid. He believes the wrong girl saved him. That mistake becomes the wound the entire story keeps reopening. The mermaid saved his life, but the world gives the credit to someone who can stand beside him in daylight. Someone human, someone visible, someone who can speak. The real savior returns to the sea with the truth trapped inside her. After that, she cannot live normally anymore. She asks more questions. She watches the surface. She thinks about the prince. But the prince is only part of it. The deeper obsession is the soul. She wants the human world because, in her mind, the human world has eternity attached to it. So she goes to the sea witch. Andersen's sea witch is not presented as a glamorous villain. She lives in a frightening place, surrounded by strange growths and creatures. The path to her is already a warning. This is not a bright magical deal. It is a descent into something ugly and final. The witch tells the mermaid the truth. She can become human, but she must pay. First, she must give up her voice. The witch says the voice is the best thing the mermaid has. Then she cuts out her tongue. That detail matters. Modern versions make the voice loss feel almost clean. A spell, a glowing shell, a temporary problem. Andersen makes it physical. The mermaid is mutilated. The part of her body that lets her say who she is gets removed. The part that could tell the prince, "I saved you," is gone forever. Then the witch explains the body cost. The mermaid will drink a potion. Her tail will split into legs. The pain will feel like a sword passing through her. Afterward, every step she takes will feel like walking on sharp knives. People will see her move gracefully. They will think she is beautiful. They will not know that every movement is torture. That is one of the cruelest ideas in the story. The human body she wants becomes a performance of pain. She can be admired only because no one can hear what it costs her. Then comes the condition that turns the bargain into a death trap. If the prince loves her, marries her, and gives her his whole heart, she may gain a human soul. But if he marries someone else, she will die the morning after his wedding and become foam. No return, no second chance, no going back to her father, no becoming a mermaid again. The witch does not hide this from her. The mermaid knows. She knows she will be silent. She knows she will suffer every step. She knows the prince may never know the truth. She knows failure means annihilation, and she still drinks the potion. That is what makes the original so dark. She is not simply tricked. She agrees because she has come to believe that remaining herself means disappearing forever. Her voice, her body, her family, her ocean, all of it becomes negotiable once eternity is placed on the other side. When she wakes on land, the prince finds her. She is naked, she is silent, she is in pain. He takes her into his palace. This is where the story becomes quieter, but more disturbing. The prince is not cruel. He likes her. He treats her kindly. He keeps her close. He enjoys her beauty, her gentleness, and her devotion. But he does not know her. He does not know she saved him from drowning. He does not know her tongue was cut out. He does not know every step beside him feels like blades. He does not know that if he marries another woman she will die. He sees the beautiful silent girl. He does not see the sacrifice that made her silent. In Andersen's story, she is so close to the prince that she sleeps outside his door on a velvet cushion. That detail is chilling. She wanted to become human, but inside the palace, she is treated almost like a treasured pet, kept near him, admired, protected, but not equal, not understood, not known. The prince says he cares for her, but he still thinks about the girl from the temple, the girl he believes rescued him. So the mermaid has to live beside the man whose life she saved while he praises another person for saving it. She cannot correct him. She cannot say, "That was me." She cannot say, "I carried you through the storm." She cannot say, "I gave up my tongue to reach you." The false story can be spoken. The true story cannot. That is the heart of Andersen's tale. Truth does not win because it is true. Truth needs a voice. And she traded hers away. Then the prince meets a princess from another kingdom. At first he does not want an arranged marriage, but then he sees her. She is the temple girl, the girl he thinks saved his life, so he chooses her. The princess is not evil. She does not knowingly steal the mermaid's place. The prince is not trying to destroy the mermaid. That makes it worse. No villain has to force the tragedy. The wrong story wins because it is the only story the prince can understand. The mermaid watches her own life get replaced in real time. The prince marries the woman he believes saved him. The ship is decorated. The wedding celebration begins. Everyone is happy except the one person who understands what sunrise means. The Little Mermaid knows the bargain. When morning comes, she will die. She will not be remembered as the savior. She will not be loved as the bride. She will not return to the sea as a daughter. She will become foam. Then her sisters rise from the water. Their hair is gone. They traded it to the sea witch for one chance to save her. They bring her a knife. The rule is brutal. Before sunrise, she must stab the prince in the heart. His blood must fall on her feet. Then her legs will turn back into a tail. She can return to the ocean. She can live. This is the scene modern versions cannot keep. Because for one night, the Little Mermaid has power again. But the only power offered to her is murder. The prince is asleep beside his bride. He has no idea the silent girl he kept near him is standing above him with a blade. He has no idea that his blood has become the price of her survival. The choice is simple and horrible. Kill him and live. Spare him and vanish. This is not a romantic test. It is a moral trap. The story asks whether survival is still salvation if it requires becoming the cause of another person's death. The mermaid looks at him. He is peaceful. He is unaware. He never knew her truth. He never knew the pain beneath every step. He never knew the girl beside him was the reason he was alive. She holds the knife. And she cannot do it. No one stops her. No magic interrupts. No prince wakes up and finally understands. She makes the choice herself. She throws the knife into the sea. Then she throws herself after it. At sunrise, she dissolves into foam. That should be the end. The bargain is complete. She failed to marry the prince. She refused to kill him. She lost the body she suffered to gain. She became the fate she feared from the beginning, foam on the water. But Andersen does not end there. The mermaid rises from the foam and becomes a daughter of the air. These spirits do not have immortal souls either, but they can earn one. For 300 years, they travel through the air doing good deeds. They bring cooling winds. They comfort human beings. They work toward the chance of receiving a soul. This is sometimes treated as hopeful, but it is also severe. After everything she loses, she still does not receive immediate peace. She receives another condition, another test, another long period of service. She gave up her voice. She gave up her tail. She gave up her home. She gave up her family. She gave up the prince. She gave up the chance to save herself through blood. She gave up her body. And even then, the soul she wanted is still far away, 300 years away. That is not a clean, happy ending. It is hope that still feels like a sentence. The story becomes a chain of bargains. The sea gives her long life, but no soul. The witch gives her legs, but takes her tongue. The palace gives her closeness, but not understanding. The prince gives her affection, but not recognition. The knife gives her survival, but only through murder. The air gives her hope, but only after centuries of labor. Every door opens by taking part of her first. That is why the original is so much darker than the version people know. Modern retellings turn transformation into freedom. Andersen makes transformation a wound. Modern retellings make the lost voice a temporary obstacle. Andersen makes it the reason everything collapses. Modern retellings make the prince the reward. Andersen makes him the man who never understands the story he is inside. The sea witch does not only steal sound, she steals evidence. Without her voice, the mermaid cannot testify to her own life. She cannot claim the rescue. She cannot explain the pain. She cannot correct the lie. She cannot even fully be known. That is why the original Little Mermaid is not just about sacrifice. It is about erasure. The mermaid believes she must become less of herself to become worthy. Less sea, less body, less voice, less history, less strange, less real. But becoming less does not make the human world know her better. It makes her easier to misunderstand. The prince can imagine her as beautiful, quiet, loyal, and mysterious. But he never has to face the truth that would disturb that image. I saved you. That missing sentence destroys her. There is also a real shadow behind the tale. Andersen never married. He came from poverty, entered elite social circles, and often wrote about outsiders who longed for places that did not fully accept them. Many readers connect the Little Mermaid to his own painful longings, including his attachment to Edvard Cullen. That interpretation should be handled carefully. It is not the only meaning of the story, but it does explain why the pain feels so personal. The mermaid loves across a gap she cannot close, across species, across body, across speech, across mortality, across belonging. She wants to enter a world that can admire her, but not truly receive her. She changes herself for that world. The world still does not learn her name. That is the forbidden meaning. The Little Mermaid is not destroyed because she loves the prince. She is destroyed because she believes love requires becoming less real. The public version says she loses her voice and gets a better life. The original says she loses her voice, and with it, the ability to be known. The public version says love transforms her. The original says transformation costs her almost everything. The public version says the prince completes the story. The original says the prince never learns the truth. And the darkest claim is this: The Little Mermaid was not about a girl finding her voice. It was about a girl being convinced that her voice was the price of being worthy.